Welcome to Making Herstory. This isn't polished success stories. This is the fire, the chaos, the gut punch truth of women who refuse to play small. The real, feral stories. The messy, bold, audacious stories that flip the table and set shit on fire. This is where we roar. It's Ashley Crabb. Buckle up, babe. We're making herstory. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Making Herstory, where we take the feral stories of female CEOs and share them with you. We take our raw, gut punch truths and throw them out there into the world. I'm Ashley Crabb, the only story-driven experience curator who helps female entrepreneurs transform their personal stories into unforgettable brands and community spaces, retreats, memberships, and events that build belonging, trust, and visibility. I am so glad you are here with us today because I have one of my business baddies with us. And I met Aliyah about a year and a half ago. And she's kind of just part of this feral female club we've created with a few of us. And she is such an amazing woman. She's an amazing friend, an amazing mother, an amazing business owner in our local community. And I am so excited to just share more about her, share her story. And without further ado, I'll let Aliyah introduce herself a little bit more. Welcome, Aliyah.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate all those kind words. Like she said, my name is Aliyah. I am the owner of BoTree Life Home. I am also a mother. I'm a full-time employee out in Lancaster. I am on the board of a nonprofit organization. I do all the things, but all of them are related to community and just helping people in general. So I am so excited to be here and to tell my story and to just talk about all the ways that I do and I'm willing to be a part of your community.
I love that. And that's one thing I love about you. And I noticed you and I had this in common, like right off the bat. We love to have our hands in a little bit of everything. And so I think when I first met you and I learned about how truly involved in the community you are, I was blown away and inspired. Because I mean, you just said you are all the things. Like me, you do a lot. I still have a 9-to-5. I own a business. I'm a mom. I'm involved in the community, and it's such a wonderful thing to do. And I love meeting other women who have that drive and determination to just show up every day and do those types of things. I would love for you to really tell us about what BoTree Life Home is.
So, BoTree Life Home, the title Life Home really started because when I first started it, I believed that you had to have both like your common areas and your environment just as put together and organized and thought through as your brain, as your mind. And I do still believe that, but the business itself has really kind of transformed more into a life and wellness because as much as I do believe the home is important to have in order, that will never happen if you don't get your mind, body, and soul in order. So that's really where the focus is at. It started heavily with my journey into mindset, into law of attraction. I can thank my sister-in-law for that. She would not leave me alone when she started learning what law of attraction was. She read the book The Secret by Rhonda Burns. Anybody who knows anything about like mindset law or law of attraction they've heard of The Secret. It's kind of your biggest cliche welcome entry into that. But I fell in love with the idea and the concept of it and the science behind it. And so it started with that journey and then some things that happened personally, which obviously you understand, or else you wouldn't have an entire podcast because all of our journeys have those pivotal moments. And so a few of those that happened for me really kind of drove me to decide. I always knew I would own a business. I had actually a graphic design business. I was doing websites and logos, but I enjoyed it. It was a hobby. I'm a creator, but I didn't have that passion. And so I was like, what can I do that is, creating my own spaces and being that business owner that I feel, that leader I feel I can be. And after a lot of reflection and some business courses, because I was running a business with not knowing anything of what I was doing, I realized that this was it. It was sharing my life and wellness journey and then adapting it into ways that I can guide others, other women, to also have their own life and wellness journey.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been so fun for me this last year and a half to be able to also watch you pivot, because I met you, I don't think you had just started, your business is older than a year and a half, right? Or like right around that time? Okay, so like I met you when you were first starting, when you were kind of more into the life and home realm. And I mean, I loved that, right? Like you said, we all do need that in some way, and we all desire that organization in our lives, and it's very, very important. And I felt attracted to you because I'm a super organized OCD cuckoo head, so I was like, oh heck yes. But it's been so amazing watching you grab onto these things that you are passionate about and working through them, and truly, I mean, at least I feel, truly coming into like your purpose in what you were made to offer the world. And like, it's been amazing, because I feel like, now I'm just like, totally trying to describe you, but like, I feel like you really embody that mental clarity and that mind, body, soul connection. I really feel like you embody that, and it's been so fun.
Thank you so much. I really truly appreciate all those words.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I think too, so you said in there, and this is also where like I'm like, oh hell yes, Leah, you go. You started creating spaces for women to come together. And I was lucky enough and honored enough to come to one of your recent events. The name of the event is escaping me, but it was a new moon, and I love that shit. So I was like, yes. And I loved it. I loved it so much. So tell us more about these spaces that you are also creating for the women in our community.
Yeah, so once I started working out in Lancaster, I work for a nonprofit organization, and so I really am heavily rooted in the community with my day-to-day work, and I realized that I don't feel that way here at home, and myself, amongst others, other business owners in the area, other people just involved in the community, we're like, what can we do to kind of make that here at home? While I've considered just up and moving to other places where it already exists, and maybe one day I will, because I truly believe humans are nomadic naturally, and we're not meant to be in the same place for the rest of our lives. But it's not in the cards for me right now. This is where I'm at right now, and so what can I do right now? And it was a mixture of that, and then also just what do I want to be known as. I still am trying to clarify my messaging and my branding of what it looks like for BoTree Life and Home, because there is so much that goes into what a health and wellness journey can look like for a woman. It is so unique, and so I was like, how can I fill all those boxes, check all those boxes off, with something that's kind of seamless, that's easy, that's, not too much. And these events were like, well, like, why not? I've always been a huge small business advocate, local business advocate. I managed a farmer's market for many years, which really taught me a lot about keeping things local. And I just have a lot of friends that I've made over the past few years that are badass business owning women, or just business owners in general, men, women, everything, all of it, all the people. I was just so proud to see it. And so I was like, how can I help elevate that? And so these events just kind of came to mind. And I was like, I love a good theme. I love a good theme. And so I was like, let's just theme them. And the girls' room came from Amanda Bynes, Nickelodeon, Don't Come For Me.
Oh my
I was hoping with like my generation that it would click. Because I want, when people to read it, I want you to hear the girls' room in your head.
Now I'm going to. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, and so that's really kind of where I got it from. And, you know, I'm not like huge symbolically or trying to get things deep, but we all know kind of some of the things that have come out about Amanda Bynes, and just, you know, what would have happened if women like that had the support and had, you know, groups to go like this. We may not want just a support group where we just sit and talk about miserable, negative feelings all the time, but can we go and can we learn how to deal with those feelings and emotions, but also have some fun, because come on, like, we need fun, and also be able to connect, because I have a great group of people in my life that I can go to, and I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, I'm constantly growing. I am always learning. And so what that results in is me constantly evolving. And so I do come into phases where I'm like, I don't feel like I have somebody I can relate to right now that I can go to, you know? And so I want to create spaces where when you're having those times, those seasons of life where you're not really connecting with the people that are surrounded by you that you typically connect with, okay, well, maybe if I go to this event, I'll find somebody else that I can connect with on a deeper level. Because at the end of the day, to find somebody where you connect on the exact same things, you know, from start to finish, it's not always going to happen. But you can have, a lot of us have this friend that we go to for this kind of stuff, and this friend that we go to for this kind of stuff, and hopefully, you know, this helps other women create that network.
That village that we all crave, not just as mothers, but as women.
Yeah, and I love that you say the word village, because I will say, I've always admired the whole term, like, it takes a village, but it wasn't until I became a parent that I really genuinely understood and appreciated what it meant to have a village. And then seeing other mothers not have that, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Me too. And I think my idea of a village has evolved since I've become a mother. Like, I think I thought of a village as just my family, like my immediate family. One, I don't have a super, super strong village in my immediate family, and I know a lot of other women don't as well. And as we get older and as we go through life changes, and, you know, we're not 21 years old in college or at the party scene anymore, like, it's hard to make friends. It can be really hard to make friends, and I think that it can really be hard to find the right room for you to be in. And I know personally, I have gone through trial and error of putting myself in rooms where I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, I want to go home. But again, because you embody this welcoming, calm aura, like the event that I went to, I don't know if I would have sat down and had like anything in common innately with anyone in that room, right? But as we started talking and we started interacting and we all started sharing our stories, it was like, you don't have to have necessarily the same exact moments or situations or things happen in your life, but we all could understand each other. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things I love about women, you who create rooms intentionally, who you said earlier, you were like, I'm still working on my branding and my messaging, and like, yes, we're working on that, right? But like, also, like you just said it, like you wanted to create a space for women where they could build their village, and because we don't all have that. Yeah. And that is so empowering, and that is something so many of us need. As women, as moms, as business owners, we need something that is networking, making friends, that sort of thing, that doesn't feel so much. I can't think of a different word for it, you know?
Forced.
Yes, yeah. Forced and sterile, like networking events tend to be, like some
Yeah.
events can tend to be, where it's just like, how am I supposed to meet anybody here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Like and that's why, you know, I do, each event has what I call the vibe check, which includes activities that are not your cheesy icebreakers. They're activities that make you think for yourself, but then also make you stop and remember that you're in a room with a bunch of humans that are doing life for the first time just like you.
Absolutely. We're doing every single day for the first time. I've been reminding myself of that so much lately. Like, this is my first time doing today. I've never done today before.
Exactly.
And when you give yourself that, like, that relief and that softness, you're like, okay, I can do today. It might suck, but I can do it.
Right.
But yeah, I love that. And I think that just as you continue to have these events, because how many have you had so far?
I've had 3 so far.
Three?
3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think as you just continue to have them and more people in our area hear about them, you're gonna explode. You're gonna hit a note that we all need. And you and I were kind of talking about this earlier, and thank you. I love you. I respect you for not moving, because I think we are in an area that, I'm from here. I can't remember if you're from here.
Yep.
But
Raised.
yeah, so like, I was not born here, but I was primarily raised here in Lancaster County. So being a Berks County girly is still kind of new to me. But like, I have seen the change from when I was a kid growing up, and really seeing our city and our county as a whole kind of evolve and expand, and really not copy, other cities or anything like that, but we're growing. And with that growth means we need to add those support systems that aren't currently here. And so yeah, it makes me, as an event curator, of course it jazzes me up. I'm like, ha ha ha, yes,
Yeah.
more.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
So, yeah, I love it. So health and wellness for me has always been a journey. Like, it's something I really got into in college, and just all of it, right? Like, what we eat, how we move our bodies, our mindsets, what we're feeding our souls, all of that stuff really kind of hit me when I moved out of my parents' house and I was on my own, and really had this opportunity to become my own person. And then even more so as I became a mother and started raising my sons. It changes the way you look at everything. And so I know as moms, we're always doing things for other people. We are always taking care of someone else. We always have a million things in the back of our minds, and it can be so hard to put ourselves first. We feel selfish, we feel guilty. And it was something that kind of shifted in my mind. People ask us our why, like, why are you doing this? And not that we all say, but to some extent, it's to help other people. It's to make an impact. It's to create a movement. Like, that's what we're doing, right? And one of the most empowering things I think I had happen for me is someone asked me my why, and it was like, I told them why I did it for myself. And like, that conversation, so like, why did you do this for yourself? That's what I want to know. If you're good sharing that, tell me why you did this for Aliyah.
So a big part of it was to hold myself accountable for my own health and wellness journey. It ebbs and flows for everyone. And so I felt that it'd be a little easier for the flow if I had some kind of accountability and some motivation. So that was a part of it. And then the other part is that community we were talking about, that network of friends and whatnot. The fact that I did feel that I was lacking in some areas, And I kind of took a step back and I was just like, well, why? And so in a selfish way, I was like, well, what can I do to find those people? And I think a big part of it is that it's harder for me to find the kind of people that think like I do because I have a different background. A few things that I think set me apart from others is one, I was raised in the first all of elementary school from like the time I was, I don't know, 10, 11, I was in the city, and then I was moved to the suburbs. So I really got best of both worlds. I knew what it was like to live in a city home that had mice running up the cabinets, and, you know, we were eating what we could, and we were wearing uniforms to school, all the 9 yards, and then I also know what it's like to live in a nice suburb home with a pool in the backyard. So that duality gave me a little bit of a different perspective, but then I went to college, and I hated political science. Hated anything politics couldn't pay me, but I had to take a gen ed in political science. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with knowing my human rights. I fell in love with knowing what people could or couldn't do. I have always been one of those people that you tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna do it. You tell me no, it's not gonna work. You tell me it's not, you can't figure it out, I'll figure it out. Yeah, exactly. I'm very much one of those people. And so when I started to see some things that we were learning, and I'm like, but that's actually not applied in the real life, and it kind of like made me start being very curious about how things worked systematically within our society. And so I took on a third minor. I was already majoring in communication studies with a kind of focus in public relations, and then I did digital media, and then political science. And so taking these like multimedia classes, public relations classes, journalism classes, in addition to taking political science classes, political history, how the systems work, all that, didn't even realize it till I think after I graduated that I actually was taught exactly how the media and our political systems control everything. And it's something, it sounds so confusing. No, it's literally, it has to be that way if you want a society to function properly. But it's not okay when control is lost and when power is consumed and it gets too far.
Right.
And so in so many ways it has gotten too far. And so I feel that I'm one of those people sitting back watching so many people I love consume media, consume all the different movies and TV shows and reality shows and all these things that are designed specifically to keep them blind from anything else that's going on, to keep them from thinking for themselves, to keep them from being their own selves and being creatives. It's physically hurting you and neurologically hurting you. And so I didn't really know these things until I took my own health and wellness journey from learning things like law of attraction, and really dove into that in the spiritual way of meditation and Buddhism and all those things, and how to connect your mind, body, and soul. And then about 2 years ago, I started to dive into the neurology of it and and the anatomy of it, and how our brains are really made up, not just our brains, but our entire body is made up to self-heal, is made up to protect, is made to do so many positive things. So I'm learning this, and I'm like, okay, then why is all
the everything fucked up?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To say it in a better way, but no, why is everything fucked up? Why is everyone fucked up? Why is everybody depressed? You know, why can we not get along? Why can't we have a regular, just intellectual conversation about disagreements that, things we may disagree on? There's so much that I just started to step back and question. I cut news out of my life a long time ago. I stopped watching any kind of news. I started being very careful on what I was following on social media. When I get my news sources are very, you can Google my news sources, and Google will not be able to tell you if they lean one way or the other, because they are so non-biased. They are so middle of the road.
I love that about you. In a world that is so divided, you're like, no.
Yeah, because that's exactly, because I sat in a political science class where we learned all about the history of politics back into the 1600s, well, really 1400s and then so on, and just basically learned all of British tactics of divide and conquer and all those things. And so
Divide and conquer. That is the problem. That's
correct.
The problem,
And so I'm
that's
like,
the goal.
this basic education I had taught me so much. But if I allow everything that I'm scrolling through on TikTok and Instagram and all that to consume me and make me forget all the basic education, the basic history that I was taught, well, then it's easy to be blind and to fall into these dark holes of depression because I'm watching so much turmoil go on, whether it be on the reality show that I'm watching or the current news events that I'm watching. It's also negative. I will tell you, one of my journalist classes, when we had a project to come up with headlines, if your headline was not negative enough, you had to start over. Mm-hmm. That is how it is built. And so I hesitated when I started kind of figuring out how I wanted to talk about this, because people get so about politics. And I hate to break it to you, but everything is political.
It is. As someone who does not like to talk about politics on the internet, and I took that stance, like, I don't talk about politics, I don't talk about my marriage, and I don't talk about my religion, because those are all personal to me, and I will not talk about them on a screen.
Yeah.
But it is everywhere. Sorry.
I agree with you. It's gotten to the point. Yeah, we don't have a choice anymore. I used to be very vocal about it, especially when I started actually being educated on politics, and I realized how many people aren't. But we're saying so many things and sharing so many things on social media when they had no idea what they were talking about. And now that I actually did, I was like, wait a minute. And so I was pretty vocal for a while until I did some mindset work, did some personal development, and I learned it's lying on deaf ears. It's not going over people's heads.
No matter who those people are. No matter who
Right. So I was like, okay, so if I'm going to do this, how can I help women understand that systematically things are set up in our society to make sure we as women don't succeed? And that's where there's so much wrong with our political systems. But what I focus on when it comes to, so I do have a book coming out, an ebook coming out, and so the reason I bring this stuff up is because because it's so heavy, because there's so much, I was like, how do we break this down? And so in my book, there's 12 different areas women can focus on to help themselves, and politics is one of the places, because when it comes to how do we want to take care of ourselves health-wise, we don't really have choices. We have to go to the doctor, they're going to give us birth control, and that's about it. That's what they want us to believe anyway.
Exactly.
And so,
thank you. I was my brain's like, wait a second. I know you don't mean it that way, but that's what they want us to do. Go to the doctor, take meds, don't ask questions, get on the conveyor belt, and that's no matter if you agree with meds to the full extent, in the middle, or if you're, no big pharma, like they don't care who you are. That's what the system wants you to do regardless.
Right. It's a sales funnel. And so when you realize that, then you're like, okay, well, what are my alternatives? Well, part of this book is trying to help you find those alternatives. But you do need to understand that when it comes down to it, the reason we don't have these alternatives is because of politics. And then we talk about, in the book, we talk about different things like regulating our nervous system, balancing our hormones and things like that. And again, not every chapter comes down to politics, but I think the reason I think it's such a big topic for me right now is because everybody's making everything about politics, and so I want to make sure, if that's the case, let's get it right.
Let's get a tool for you.
Let's get it right spiritually. Let's get it right. And not as a right, oh, you're right, you're wrong. There is no right or wrong. No way in hell did some creator put us on this earth as the most intelligent species and say, but you have to follow a book of rules very specifically and there's a right and wrong for everything, and only a certain part of your species knows what is right and what is wrong, and you follow them, and that's it. Do you understand how crazy that sounds?
I'm pretty sure the creator even realized that we were going to have questions, right?
Right. And so whatever it is you believe in, whatever systems you're a part of, I just want women to think for themselves. Because you can never live happily and confidently and all those positive things if you can't think for yourself. And these systems in our society are set up to make sure that you don't think for yourself.
That you blindly follow.
Mm-hmm, yes. I mean,
or that you don't get to have your own interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, people are quicker to fight their neighbor and their loved ones over something that they read or heard than they are to question these big entities that are supposed to be looking out for our well-being. But if you really just do a tiny little bit of research and you realize, oh, legislators here are actually on the board over here making money for something they're supposed to be writing legislation for, come on. When it comes to, again, like bringing up politics and stuff, it's only because I want people to stop feeding into it. I don't want to teach you how to learn about I mean, I can if you want. You want to sit down and have a civics 101, sure. But I don't want to. Because, again, it's just feeding into it. I just want women to learn that what's in place here is not the end-all, be-all. It is not what we should be following. We can actually create our own paths. And we can do it while agreeing with certain things and disagreeing with other things because everything is situational. Everything is individualistic and very unique. Everyone's journey is different. And so if we can create a community of women that stop blindly following all these systems that are put out there and start just seeing each other as the individuals they are, and then on top of it, learn what their mind, body, and soul can do without things like Big Pharma and without all the groceries on the shelves filled with additives and without having this narrow mind view that our country is the best thing in the world and there's nothing else out there. Get out of your bubble. Live the life that you were meant to live. It is, and if you continue to follow these things blindly, you're never going to be able to. You're never going to be able to. They don't want you to. And I want you to. I want women to thrive.
That's the other thing. Like, no matter, and I think that is something we all have in common. No matter where in the world you are, there is someone trying to control you. Mm-hmm. And you have to be stronger than that. Like, you have to say, no, I'm burning the blueprint. I am not following the roadmap. I am not following this set of rules. And I'm gonna ask questions.
You've been listening to Making Herstory. Remember, your story isn't optional. It's your fire, your power, and the heartbeat of every space you build. So take up space, tell it raw, and keep building the kind of legacy that can't be ignored. It's Ashley Crabb, and I'll be back with more bold, brave, feral stories soon. And if you want to stay feral with me, hit subscribe, share this with your sisters, and let's make herstory louder together.